Hello YouTube, this is Reefer Brian coming to you from my newly re-established Core Life biocube 14. Had this up for a while, didn't really work out. I had a lot of algae issues. Basically what I did is I put in some dry rock, which I didn't cure. Had phosphate issues that never got right, so I tore it down. Very frustrating. I did everything I could. I kept changing water, and just after months I took it down, put everything back in my 10-gallon. Well, I got the itch to put this up again, so this has been up for, I want to say, about 2 months, and everything's going great. I just put all the live rock from the other tank in. I remade the sand bed with some dry sand, which is, it's going to become live soon, if not already. But I did have a diatom bloom from it. I don't know if I had a mini cycle or, if it was just a matter of the nutrients, the beneficial bacteria, because I took the old sand bed out. Wasn't there to support the bio load from the inhabitants. Whatever it was, it lasted a couple weeks, and I added some Microbacter 7, I think that's what you call it, and for about a week, and things started to stabilize. And last couple days, no algae on the glass, no algae on the sand, so everything's good. Right there is Schizo, my clownfish. He's crazy, always active, always moving around the tank. So I have a total of 2 fish. I've got Schizo, and I've got a yellow watchman goby, which I call Grumpy Old Man. He always looks like he's frowning. He's behind a rock over there, you can't see him. The main centerpiece of my tank is this carpet anemone. Had him for, wow, at least the 2 months the tank's been up. So everything's going good with him. I feed him raw shrimp, and he likes it. So I'm looking to diversify his menu. So if anyone else can suggest something that I can feed him. Someone said silver sides. Where do I get those from the seafood counter, or how do I buy those? I've never heard of silver sides, but wherever I can get those, I'd be glad to get him to, so he doesn't get bored with his food. There's my zinnia right there. There's a candy cane coral, my Duncan coral, some zoas there on the bottom right, zinnia that spread up to the top, and some more peppermint corals, trumpet corals, like Corellia 240. I think it's a Corellia. I think that's what I bought. And this heater, I want to find somewhere to put out. Like, it looks horrible right there, but I've got my back chamber filled up with a right chamber filled up with a skimmer. So I don't know. I'll find another chamber to put it in, I guess. It's got to be the far one to the left, but I gotta see how that's going to work out. But and I added, I don't know if you can, well, I can't show you, but I added the extra LED strip that you can buy in the Core Life version, and I put that in, and that actually helped a lot. Made it a little brighter, adds a little shimmer to the tank. But my main reason for making this video today was not only to show off my 14-gallon tank that I started, but I want to encourage all of you that want to start a nano reef tank or a reef tank. It doesn't have to be nano. To just do your research, look up the site, how to cycle a tank, look up some, animals that you want to put in there, research them. Whatever you do, I did this a couple times and I regretted it. Don't impulse buy. Don't walk into a store and say, oh, that's a pretty fish, I want him, without doing your research. Or you could really undo what otherwise would be a good tank that you've got going. Do your research. If you can set up a quarantine tank, that would be ideal. Put your fish in there a few weeks, 4 weeks or so. Make sure they don't have any parasites like ick or something like that. Then put them in your display tank. I didn't know about a quarantine tank when I set this up, or when I first set my first tank up. And I just got lucky that neither one of my fish had ick. And I don't plan on adding any more fish. Well, I want to add a third, but my wife doesn't know about that, so that's just a different story. But I might want to add like a firefish. But quarantine your fish if you can. Dip your corals, man. Whatever you do, get some coral dip and dip your corals. You're going to get some kind of a freaking pest that comes into your tank and starts either munching on your zoas, or your corals start dying. You don't know why, and all of a sudden you got a coral-eating nudibranch in there. You know, just take the extra time and dip your corals. I'm telling you, man. I wish I got a couple nuisance things from a piece of live rock that I got. And that's why, if I were to do it all over again, I wouldn't start with live rock. I really wouldn't. I'd go a different route, because I've got some starfish in here that I don't really want. I forget the name of them. But I don't see them much, but I just wish they weren't in there. I just don't know much about them. And, you know, if you can avoid hitchhikers, by all means avoid them. You never know what you're going to get with something from your local fish store. But the good news is you can prevent it by coral dipping them and quarantine your animals, your fish. A lot of people say start off with a bigger tank. You know, it's easier. I don't necessarily subscribe to that, but you know, you make up your own mind. If cost is an issue, then definitely you want to start off with the nano. I mean, you can buy higher end things if you're buying them for a smaller tank, like lights. I'm personally just going to run with these stock compact fluorescents for a while. After a while, I'm going to make this a hoodless tank and go with a Kessel. But that's down the road. I'll tell you what I've really been looking at is the LED biocubes now. The 32 is really catching my eye. So I have to sweeten the wife up. You know, maybe we'll get that working. I don't know. But for right now, this is good. And I just want to encourage you, don't let people tell you salt water is too hard. It does take a little extra work, but I find it enjoyable, and I'm sure you will too. Keep up on your water changes, maybe a 10% every week or 20% every 2 weeks. Just make sure you're doing your water changes. Test your water. Never dose anything that you're not testing for. Learn about dosing. You know, most of the times in like a 14-gallon, I can get away with not dosing, because with my frequent water changes, I'm replacing everything that's getting depleted. And that's all going to depend on what kind of corals you keep too. If you keep hard corals, SPS and SPS and stuff like that, they're going to obviously use up more calcium from the water column and stuff like that. So, but I just want to encourage you all to get your nano tank, get started, do your research, and have fun. And keep on reefing. This is Reefer Brian saying goodbye for now. Please subscribe and or like my page. And if you have any questions, you know where to put them, and I'll get back to you. Thanks a lot.